Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
Hello.
Oh, we're so glad you could be here. You know, Frances was asked to advise an after-school club, so she can't be here anymore. So we're so glad that you could join us.
Well, thank you for letting me join the group. I need help with classroom strategies for organizing and managing large classes, and I look forward to hearing your ideas.
Yeah, I've been thinking about the use of groups and the benefits. And I remember in the university, we were in houses and students would support each other and get to know each other throughout the year. And I also remember in after-school programs, we were divided into teams. And the teams would do a lot of activities together and they would compete with other teams. And in the process, they would build community.
Yes, I think having class teams would give students a sense of belonging.
Yeah, and I think it could help with classroom management too.
Right, there could be team leaders that help with tasks like taking attendance and making sure the students are on task and paying attention.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about, who gets into groups. For example, sometimes our grouping is just random. If we have a quick, easy task, we just group students who were seated close to each other. But other times you want to be more purposeful about your grouping, maybe to have students at the same level all grouped together.
Yeah, I think it's important to think about why we're grouping the students the way we do and for what purpose. For example, if we have a lower level group, we want to give them an easier task. And then if we have a higher level group, then we want to give them a more challenging task. And if we have a project that requires students from different levels, then we want to have multiple levels of English speakers in the class.
That's a good point. In addition, we need to think about how we break into groups, especially in large classes. We don't want it to get too chaotic or take too much time.
Yeah, I think this is where clear instructions are helpful. We can't just tell students to get in groups of 6. We actually have to be very specific, very clear. We need to break down the instructions into steps. We need to read them out loud. We need to write them on the board. And maybe we need to ask a student volunteer to rephrase them.
Yeah, and I suggest that we avoid the question, does everybody understand? That almost never helps. Instead, I like to ask specific questions about the instructions, such as how many questions are you supposed to write, or who is going to report back to the large class about the results of the small group?
Yes, and we can use our team leaders to help with that. We can say, team leaders, help get students into groups of 6, and then look over your next tasks quietly.
Yeah, I like the idea about thinking how we group students, right? We can even put that in our lesson plans, why we're doing it and how we're doing it. And then after the class, we can come back to our lesson plans and add notes about how it went so that next time we can improve when we use those lesson plans.
Yeah, and when we use groups, I think is also very important. My students get restless after about 15 minutes of sitting and listening. And so what I try to do after a quiet activity is to do something more lively and interactive.
Yeah, so let me ask you both how you use signals to get students to quiet down when you're trying to end an activity. What do you think works the best for you?
I know some teachers, they use a bell or they have a special clap like.
And I use my phone, and this is the signal that I use.